Hello and welcome. It's the event that you've all been waiting for, the first round proper of the 2023 FA Cup of Football Phrases. And tonight we've got some outstanding judges joining us tonight. So in their honor, in Lee's honor, in Peter's honor, and even Sophie, who I think may have been right behind them in that picture, we're going to show you a little clip of some of their recent incredible work. And then we'll welcome them on to a very special episode of the Gooners Pod.
Chenko and Martinelli, and it came for Saka, who scores in a trice. He can do no wrong. They can do no wrong. Arsenal in next to no time.
Well, it's absolutely brilliant from Odegaard. Let's start there. What a run, just there. Brilliant tackle. And then look at far post, he gets a run on his defender, he's far post. The calmness of such a young man, just to stroke the ball into the net. He doesn't thrash at it. Watch this. I said it the other night, Bobby Charlton always said pass the ball into the net. There's your pass.
Odegaard. Oh, Martinelli! Arsenal are so adept in those tight spaces.
The kids are calling players with brilliant skill ballers. Watch this for a baller. Little drag back through the legs. Absolutely world class, that is.
It's cheating. Can't do that. Saka's corner. Odegaard! He's given that a lot. Pure and pretty. Arsenal are flying away at the top.
Well, too much space. It looks like he hits it into the ground. But just look at his position. It just creeps in there.
Partey, smoothness from Arsenal. Martinelli, problem for Lamptey. Gabriel Martinelli. Nketiah! Golden Gunners days. They are flying.
Well. Welcome back to the Gooners Pod for a very special edition tonight. While the real FA Cup continues with the final 32 teams pending replays. Tonight, we take the FA Cup of Football Phrases down to its final 32 teams with judges who are truly sublime. They're in the ascendancy. Our guests tonight are pulling up trees. They're perfection merchants. Their nous is unmatched. It's a group that has their tails up. If you're in the chat, you're surely on tenterhooks because this show, unlike most of our others, will not be pony. So, first, he's one half of the top commentating team for NBC Sports here in the U.S., where we are really, really lucky to have him. He also does Thursday Night Football for Amazon Prime. Just came off of a fantastic World Cup feed for 14 matchups, including the final. And last but not least, he's the most professional part of the Europa Conference League, where he does commentary for seemingly every game that West Ham plays for BT Sport. Welcome back to the pod for your third appearance, Peter Drury.
Mike, thank you, and it's such esteemed company too. Thank you.
You know, I'm giddy about this because every time we have you on, it's special enough. But I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
And fresh off his work on the FA Cup, sleeping his way through the Arsenal Oxford game last night for ITV.
First off, anyway,
he's not a fan of towels on footballs on the sideline. He called 14 matchups as well, including the final in the World Cup for ITV. He is the greatest right back in the history of Arsenal Football Club because he has 4 more league titles, 1 more League Cup, and 1 more European Cup Winners' Cup medal than Hector Bellerin and Cedric Suarez combined. And he's also the other half of the top commentating team for NBC Sports here in the U.S., along with Peter Drury. He's Arsenal's number 2. He's our number 1, Mr. Lee Dixon, a.k.a. fullback.
Thank you.
Legend.
You've got some lovely artwork behind you.
Can we introduce you?
If you have an introduction ready for me, or
I've got one ready for you, but I'm not sure I'm not sure I could go live with it.
Yeah, let's pre-record over a couple beers and then we'll decide. And of course, always thrilled to be joined by my favorite podcaster this side of the Thames. She could be seen and heard on Sky Sport, Talk Sport, Sport, CFAX, London Greek Radio, Ham and Cheese Radio. She's also the host of the Highbury Squad along with Super Kevin Campbell. She stole Vic Akers out from under me, which is great. Being stuck up in the knee is not where you want to be. You love her. I love her. It's Sophie Nicolaou from the High Road. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I thought you were going to be at a media day today. It looks like you're in the studio.
So I'm supposed to be at MLS Media Day, but the weather is so horrific in California that my travels, you know, I was going to drive up, and it's just you can't get through Santa Barbara right now. You can't get through any of it.
Sophie, my wife has been evacuated from our house in Montecito.
Yeah, it's terrible, Lee.
She's now in a hotel in Santa Barbara and can't move.
She all right? Because it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's safe, but they had to get out yesterday afternoon. It was really bad.
If you give us the specific hotel, we can check on her and make sure she's okay. We'll crowdsource that. But for one, I'm glad to have you in your normal environment, and hopefully Vinny and Vespa will be able to make an appearance today. Now, Lee, when we last saw you, which was during the there he is, which was during the 27-hour podathon for Gooners versus Cancer, this magic occurred, where we did a transatlantic 6-arm circle.
High five thing.
I don't know if we could somehow make that appear today, but you know what? We have so much stuff to go through.
I can do it. I'm doing my bit.
Well, then it would just look like I'm petting Sophie, and we don't want that.
No, if it goes like that, then
you need a GIF. You need a Vinny GIF.
We'll get this sorted out.
Hill.
Because this is what people came here to see, after all. But in any case, the beauty of how generous these three are with their time is that they've been on with us before. They've talked about their careers on our show, their feelings about Arsenal, their history broadcasting and podcasting and playing the game. But today we're putting them to work. So if you want to hear any of the backstory and questions and answers and all that, please just search our archives for the many shows that we've done with these three. And we have a very, very serious matter to take care of tonight. So the three of you have the hopes and dreams of 64 incredible competitors, football phrases, bell-worthy football phrases that will not be receiving the bell tonight because I don't want to be, turn it into a bell cast. But these are football phrases that roll off of your tongues dramatically, poetically, orgasmically through the world of you and those like you. So you three have the duty of crushing the dreams of 32 phrases, their legions of fans, and propelling the other 32 into the stratosphere of the second round proper, where they will remain in fierce competition to crown the 2023 winner of the Football Phrase FA Cup.
Feeling the pressure like Arteta now. Whew, that's a lot.
I mean, if you're not sweating at this point, I don't know what would make you sweat. But last week we had a special episode where the original 90 entrants, including some top competitors, some non-league minnows as well, were whittled down to the final 64. And there was drama. There were upsets. There were tears. There was unbridled joy. It had it all. And tonight will be more of the same. I mean, we said goodbye to such competitors as Onion Bag, Hairdryer Treat.
No, you can't do that.
How did Onion Bag go?
We had to say goodbye to Shambles, to Playing a Blinder, Wage Packet, Desmond, and a lot of others who just didn't have what it took to get over the hump. Onion Bag is a top competitor. My watch thinks. Onion Bag is a top competitor.
What competition are you running here when Desmond and Onion Bag have gone with 64 to go?
That's why he's a legend.
You'll find out in a minute because this competition is not for the faint of heart. This is the European Super League of football phrase competitions, which means it shouldn't exist. But there's no minnows in here unless you really, really play well. So tonight it gets real. Here are the rules. There are no rules. You can use whatever rationale you like. You can pick a winner without explanation. You can give an explanation. You can relate a story about the phrase that you might have. Whatever the case may be, it's completely up to you. You are our three judges. I'm just merely here to facilitate and to, if any of your, your decision-making tools get wet, I'll wipe them off with a towel to make sure that they're easier to handle.
Oh.
I'll lie down behind the free kick wall if that's what it takes. All the things that Lee hates. So we'll either have 2-1 winners or 3-0 winners, and then we'll move on to the next matchup. So any questions
I have one question.
Go on.
Oh, sorry, Legend first.
No. I didn't have a question. I was just going to make a comment.
I have a question, but it's not exact. It's related, but not. Mike, can I ask this? Because I know I'll never get a chance as the show goes on. I wanted to ask.
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask the football poet, bottom right there. Does he have a blue moon has risen ready for the Gunners? The end of the season.
Yes, I do.
Oh, now that, Sophie, would be presumptuous. Listen, they've got to play Manchester City twice in the next month, haven't they, your lot?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So,
we do.
Ask me again after that.
He's probably got it prepared as much as he's got his Watford relegation speech.
Are you both doing?
If Watford get relegated this year, things really have got grim.
You are doing the two of you are doing the derby on Sunday, I hope, for NBC.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
wow.
when you see a large American man invade the pitch in the 70th minute, I'll tell you when it's going to be.
Yeah.
Please prepare something poetic for that. You can give my my epitaph, whatever, as I get beaten to death. But I will be in the house and hopefully enjoying that one.
I'll ask you. I started doing prep on it today, actually, Mike. The derby for Sunday, and I was looking up Lee's London derbies, North London derbies. Here's a little quiz question. He played his first North London derby on the 10th of September 1988. And Arsenal won 3-2 at Tottenham. And all the goals were scored in the first half. Who was the first player to score for Arsenal in a North London derby in which Lee Dixon played? And it's kind of relevant because it's one of his brethren. It was yin to his yang.
I've got to go with Nigel Winterburn.
Correct answer, Sophie.
Nigel Winterburn.
Yeah.
Nigel Winterburn.
That was 2 days or so into my Arsenal fandom. I was at the home version of that derby, but that season I didn't travel anywhere to any away games. But
call yourself a supporter.
I was 15, American. I didn't know my way around, and yeah. But I learned my way quickly, and I will be making my first trip up the road this Sunday. So
I'll see you at the United game, Mike. I'll see you at the United game.
Have you been to the toilet bowl before?
I have been once on a special reconnaissance mission, posing as the Independent Yank for a fake podcast called The Independent Yank, basically interviewing Tottenham fans about why they're Tottenham fans, why they seem to think that the Y word is some sort of form of endearment rather than a disgusting racial slur. Yeah. And none of them could answer any of my questions. So yeah, we have an episode up called something like "Why are Tottenham fans such?" and then a word that I'm not going to use again in your presence. But yeah, I was the Independent Yank for about 2 hours during a Europa Conference game, which frankly, Peter, you might have even been calling.
Yeah.
Last year, but
I put a mini Greek curse on them when they were here in LA, and they
not a fun experience. Yeah,
not winning. Yeah, still haven't.
So let's move on, and my apologies to those of you in the chat because I am mostly looking at a different screen and can't highlight your comments. I didn't quite think of that, but let's get to the contest here. So I will now bring on.
I'll let you know if there's any corkers, Mike. I'll keep my eye on it.
Okay, absolutely, and.
There's one that should
go
be
ahead
in.
And share my screen now.
There's a corker.
Oh, it's a corker.
All right, corker not in the round of 64. All right, here we go. Let me know if you can see this.
Geez, I need a magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, that's good now.
Okay.
God,
our first matchup of the round of 64 is Under the Kosh, which is taking on First Hurdle. Surprising victory in the prelims over Onion Bags.
Who voted for that last one?
I voted for Onion Bags, and the other three voted for.
Who are the other three? I need names.
I believe it was Aston, James, and Daniel, who some of them are in the chat right now. So all I got to say is I told you so, but we don't have the opportunity to bring them back. So it's Under the Kosh or First Hurdle. Our first vote will be from Lee Dixon.
100% Under the Kosh, having played for Chester City, Bury and Burnley in my previous life. Before being an Arsenal player, I was under the cosh a lot. And yeah, that resonates with me. First hurdle has got no relevance to my football life whatsoever.
All right, Peter, under the cosh, first hurdle.
I'm going under the cosh as well for no other reason than first hurdle, I've got to say, is a little bit lame, and it had no right to beat onion bags. Under the cosh is a thing. First hurdle isn't.
Yeah, I mean, onion bag I thought would perform, but these are the kinds of things that happen in an FA Cup on any given day. I think the matchup was at onion bags, and their support was at first hurdle, and their support was just sublime.
You should have used VAR, Mike. You should have used VAR on that one.
I didn't want to try to exert my influence. I didn't have 4 votes compared to their 1, so yeah, I lost there. Sophie, are we going to make it an even 3-0?
100,000,000%. As an Arsenal fan, we have lived and breathed being under the cosh towards the end of Wenger's time, Emery's, beginning of Arteta's. So we know how that feels. Yes, under the cosh.
All right. For some reason, I may have to restart this because it's not allowing me to enter the score here.
Refresh. Got to refresh. Under the cosh is winning in the chat as well, Mike, by the way.
Yeah. I had no doubt that it would. So yeah, I think what I have to do is
Mark saying, if you're talking about Mike, then it's under the kosher. Very, very clever, Mark.
Yeah, I thought under the cosh was about bagels. I have to be completely honest. Let me take just a second here, and if I can't get this fixed, because I'm supposed to be able to put in the score, and it will automatically advance our next our next.
Tense as a North London derby.
But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna call the winners. They're being redrawn for the next round anyway. So just because under the cosh wins this does not mean that they're playing the winner of the next one. So we have under the cosh. We're gonna adjust on the fly as my technology is not working.
Your technology is indeed under the cosh.
Yes, I am feeling under the cosh right now for sure, because things are not working out the way I wanted them to. Okay. Nous and handbags. This is a tough one. This one is a masterful first round matchup. We're going to alter who goes first and kind of rotate it. So Peter, you have the honor of sending either Nous or handbags through.
I am going to vote for Nous on the basis that handbags, I'm not sure it's very 21st century. You know, I would feel ill at ease using.
This is not politically correct.
I understand that, but I'm a modern man, Lee. I'm not a granddad yet, and I think that Nous. Listen, perhaps I am being a little bit too correct about it, but Nous, personally speaking, is something I think I would say. Handbags, probably not anymore. Sorry if that's slightly plain, but that's my thinking.
No, look, there are no rules. You get to
very Watford of you.
Yeah, well, I think we'll probably be talking about handbags by 4:05 on Sunday afternoon. But there we are.
Certainly on the high street on the way in, we will be. Sophie, handbags or Nous?
As a woman, I have to say I am totally not offended by handbags, especially handbags at dawn. I love it. I am all in on handbags 100%.
Okay, so here we go. We have it comes down to fullback.
I love
handbags or Nous? Where are you going?
I love it when it's all about me.
Lee, it's like that pass Lee made in '89 at Anfield. Here we go.
Well, I was literally just about to say it's like you charging down the middle. Are you gonna pull a Mickey Thomas? Are you part 2? Or are you gonna pull a Mickey Thomas part 1?
Well, I don't even know what either of them represents. So I'm gonna go. I was gonna go this if I was first, second, or third. Handbags all day long.
Ooh.
For the reason that Sophie eloquently explained, and in this politically correct world, if I get in trouble for this, that it's your fault, Mike. But I would never say Nous. It's not a word I would use, so it kind of doesn't really resonate in my brain.
And you know what? I'm prepared to say that if Sophie had gone first and reminded me of the of handbags at dawn,
Yes,
that would have changed my mind completely. Because
this is the beauty. This is the majesty
that.
of the cup, because there's a lot of random things. So handbags wins no matter what. And again, it will not be going against under the caution the next round. It will be potentially going against them, because we'll be doing a anything to create a new show out of it. We're going to do a draw. I'm getting a bunch of ping pong balls. We're going to do it. Next one, asking questions against top bins. Top bins. It could have been an asking questions half a chance combination, but top bins won in a tie break, which was done by the chat. So asking questions, top bins, Sophie.
This is so easy. It couldn't be easier. Top bins. I mean, it's just, I love it. I love it when commentators use it. Old school, new school, in any era of wokeness or people being politically correct or incorrect. Top bins always wins for me, Magic.
All righty. So we have top bins. Another one of my family members believes top bins as well. So
he's more handsome than you, that one. That's
he's way more handsome. He's more haired. He's more virile. Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I meant athletically, but anyway.
Yes.
Lee, just take over the show for me.
Yeah. I'm going to go for top bins, but I don't particularly. I would never say it, because I think it's too
cliche.
It's too cliche, too laddie in a kind of with your mates type thing, that top bins. So I would stay away from saying it, but I like the connotations of it more than asking questions, which in a commentating point of view, I would probably use more than top bins for sure. I might say asking questions in commentary, but I do like the thought of top bins.
Well, are we going to be 3-0?
Yeah, we are going to be 3-0, Mike. I've got to say that I don't think I would say it, but I'm jealous of people who can. I think if I said top bins, they'd shout, "This is a bloke trying to be 20 years younger than he is." And that's not to say that I don't think it's a great line, top bins. I would just feel inauthentic using it. But it's like Lee says he wouldn't use it, but you started talking at Brighton the other day, as I think we heard at the top there. You started talking about ballers. So,
I know, that was totally out of character, because as I was thinking about saying it, I actually thought, can I say this? Because I feel as if I'm going into a very different realm of talking like a kid. It just seemed like the right thing to say, so I said it. But
you also said towel instead of tackle, which that was my favorite part. And before I forget, I have to
say tackle.
We have to give it up to young noble commentary, the man behind that
brilliant
opening video to this. I know you love him, Peter. I don't know how you feel about him, Lee, but he's in the chat.
I love it. Yeah, he's great. Absolutely,
he's my guy. I love this
funny.
guy, and Tao, and it was beautiful. So yes, all right. So we got three matchups done. 29 left to go. So I hope you guys don't have any plans for the next 3 days. The next matchup is Have Their Tails Up against Purchase, as in he put a little too much purchase, not enough purchase on it. I'd never heard that use of the word purchase before I started watching football. So Have Their Tails Up, eased past form goes out the window to get into this round. So we're going to start with Lee. Do you have your tails up, or are you purchasing?
I know, obviously know what it means. I would never use it. I would never say have their tails up. It wouldn't. But I've said purchase before when I've talked about all sorts of types of passes and stuff. So I have said that before, and so that resonates with me. So I would go purchase for me.
And by the way, I whenever I watch a game that you guys do, I watch it in this, just with this very, very like 0.0001% hoping that someone will be like, yeah, I was on this great podcast earlier this week and I mentioned something. And for some reason it never happens, but trust me, you will now be thinking about this podcast on Sunday. When, anytime any of these words become appropriate, if
that's why you've done it, isn't it?
If the hairdryer treatment is given at halftime,
they have to get top bins into the commentary on Sunday.
I mean, I know you won't mention the podcast, but as long as you're thinking about it, that's good enough for me.
Thomas Partey, top bins, go on.
I mean, if a team scores at the first, when we score in the second minute of the game, it's early doors, but we'll get there. Have their tails up and purchase, Peter.
I think purchase. I'll go purchase because it's one of those words that you use when you want to sound a little bit cleverer than you really are. You know, it sounds kind of semi-technical, doesn't it? And so you say purchase. There's all sorts of simpler ways of saying the same thing or more straightforward. But purchase, takes you from A to A star in your GCSE commentating.
That's what I love about them. That and the phrases that could be one word, but they're 9, just because it sounds a little bit more poetic. It's fantastic. Clean sweep for purchase, Sophie, or
I love listening to these guys in terms of what they use and what they like. I love it. It's brilliant. But I'm a bit old school here. I'm going to go with tails up. I love it. I think it adds flavor to the commentary. Just seamlessly explains the team. That's in the ascendancy. I'm going to go tails up. Sorry to the purchasers in the chat.
Well, no, it's fine because your vote actually means nothing because it's
technically by the time it got to you, it was a dead rubber. But
this is why I don't vote in elections. No.
And by the way, if I could figure out, sorry, Lee,
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. No, I was just apologizing to you for our relationship. If I could figure out how to put the comments up from the chat without blocking Sophie's face, I will
put them up. It's fun. There's so many. They know, but don't. This is the roasties, or what are yours called? Not no roasties is your Sunday show.
Goonies.
Goonies. Put it up.
All right, so
it's about them, not me.
So we've got Kosh, handbags, top bins, and purchase are through to the final 32. Done and dusted against early doors, who it went to a crowd vote, and the chat voted for early doors over hairdryer treatment. Done and dusted, early doors. I think we go to Peter for this.
I mean, this is like a game between sort of two of the originals, two of the grand old clubs. This is like Preston North End against Wolves. They've both been there since time began, and you've got to sort of pick one of them. I think. Well, as a commentator, I prefer it when it's definitive rather than sort of searching for your way in the early moments of the game. So when you say done and dusted, you're nearly there. Your day at work is complete, and it is what it says on the tin. So done and dusted for me.
Okay, and I think we have, we had a similar one to done and dusted that's going to show up a little bit later. So one vote for done and dusted. Sophie?
I'm pretty sure I've heard Lee Dixon say early doors quite a few times in his commentary. I love it. Again, old school. I'm going to go with early doors.
All right. And the thing that Lee loves more than anything else, more than done and dusted or early doors, is having the deciding vote, as we know.
That would be me. Well, unlike Peter, who likes obviously done and dusted the game to be over so he can go home to his lovely wife and family, I prefer the early part of the game in early doors. So I like to be there as long as possible because I love my job. So I'm all day long early doors with both all day.
All right. Well, we have this one was a pretty split within the chat, but. And I think Daniel asking the same question he asked last time, which is how can a door be early? What is a late door? Wow. Late door is Anfield 89. We won that one. That one was done and dusted late doors. About as late as the door could be. All right, next. Early doors is through. We have Rampant and Rosed. Rampant was rampant against False 9, and I don't don't blame folks for doing that. False 9 brings back a pretty bad memory for us Schooners. Rampant and Rosed. We start this one with Lee Dixon.
Rosed all day long. I've hit most Roseds in the League One and League Two and at Highbury. So I've got an affinity with Rosed. Rampant, I don't even know what it means. So
I have a prediction for what I hope Peter's answer to this is, but I won't spoil it. But Peter, Rampant or Rosed?
I'm Rampant.
I hoped you would.
That is to say that I am choosing Rampant. Because I try to avoid, if somebody kicks the ball into Rosed, I go out of my way not to say Rosed, because it's been, in fact, I'm more likely to say Q or something like that, which gives you the same story without actually saying Rosed.
How about Ro H?
Yeah,
just a chance to say H instead of H.
I would, and rampant is one of those words which is almost, and this is by the way inaccurate, but you know what I mean, kind of onomatopoeic. It sounds like what you want it to be, and it rolls, and it's one of those words that satisfies, I think. So I'm with rampant.
There are a few words in this competition that when I see them, I hear them in your voice. Rampant is one of those words.
Oh wow!
Arsenal are rampant.
Rampant.
It's not poetic in a sense, but it's very emotive, evoking emotion, and that's what Peter Drury is all about. So,
well, it's a great word. It's a great word, rampant.
It's sexual, isn't it?
It is. It is. There's no getting away from that.
So
we're not right now.
Lee, you were Rosed, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So, Soph, it's down to you. The futures of Rampant and Rosed are in your hands.
The amount of times I wanted Senderos to just put it in Rosed or Mustafi, and they just refused to. Sometimes winning, winning ugly is beautiful. I'm going to go with Rosed. It's just a classic, and I do love a classic. So Rosed for me, Magic Mike.
To me, that is a massive upset. But again, this is the beauty of the early rounds of the FA Cup. If only I had a vote to send it to the chat, I would have gone with Rampant. But hey, that's not how the show works. So Rosed is through. You could even say that they're home and dry, which is the simile or the synonym to done and dusted that I was mentioning earlier, against the aforementioned dead rubber. Sophie, you have the first choice in this. Home and dry easily made it through over Cynical in the last round, and now they're in a non-dead rubber against dead rubber.
Dead rubber. What does that even mean? I mean, what is dead rubber? Like, rubber's dead anyway, isn't it? I mean, mostly. I don't know. I'm not very good at science.
They're not when it comes to Mike Hurst, they're not. But
I loved. I'm going to go with dead rubber. Home and dry. That could be in relation to anything. I mean, right now most Californians want to be home and dry. Yeah. So I'm going to go with dead rubber.
All right. Lee?
I don't like dead rubber. It's got I don't know. I just don't like the connotations of dead rubber. I don't know why. I know what it means, but I don't particularly like home and dry. Can we have a draw?
Can't, unfortunately. I mean, then we just have to have a replay, and I'd have to have you guys on sometime in the middle of the week next week, which is fine with me if we want to do that.
I'm gonna go home and dry just because I don't like dead rubber. No.
Okay, so that sends it to Peter. I think, Peter, this is your first
deciding one, and I've made my mind up. Okay. It is. I'm going home and dry as well, because there's nothing a commentator hates more than a dead rubber. If you turn up on the decisive night of a Champions League group or in the World Cup, those final group nights, and there's nothing on it, and you've got 90 minutes ahead of you without a real narrative and without jeopardy, that's a nightmare day at work. So I would do anything to avoid dead rubber, and home and dry therefore wins by default.
Perfect. Well, and
nice.
And we've got another 2-1. So we've had a lot of close matchups here, which is again what you expect at this stage of the competition. Next matchup is Caught in Two Minds against Second Bite at the Cherry. Caught from two minds, had no problem disposing of Off the Boil. And so we start, I believe, with where we finished, which was with Peter.
Well, this is a derby, really, isn't it? Because you get a second bite at the cherry, having been caught in two minds.
Yeah,
if you weren't caught in two minds, you wouldn't need that second bite at the cherry. So since caught in two minds has a negative connotation, and second bite at the cherry offers a degree of promise and positivity, I'll go second bite at the cherry.
All right, second bite at the cherry is the pick for Peter. Sophie,
how can you not agree with Peter after that explanation? Actually, most of his explanations, even though I've gone in the opposite direction, but I am going to agree with Peter on this one. Easy peasy, love it. Second bite at the cherry. It's just now, gives you hope, doesn't it? Gives you hope.
Does anyone ever say second bite at the apple? Is that exchangeable, or is it definitely just cherry?
No.
I think I got in a fist fight with somebody over that once. I don't remember which.
You're getting another one with me if you say that.
All right. So and Lee, it is a dead rubber at this point, but
what's your vote? And I would go caught in two minds, having played with Martin Keown for 10 years. I was often caught in two minds.
Oh, good line.
All right, caught. I think
it's only you could have said that.
but yet it's a consolation goal at the end of extra time. Second bite of the cherry is comfortably through. In fact, they're home and dry for the next round. So that's 8 done. Now we're getting into the groove of it. We have merchant, as in speed merchant, foul merchant, anything ending in merchant, and then fluffed his lines. I believe we begin this one with, we're going to switch up the order now. We're going to start with Sophie and go back the opposite direction now.
Well, having worked in the film industry for so many years, Mike, I have to go. And I've seen many top actor and actress fluff their lines. I am going to go with fluffed his lines or her lines, depending on which team you're watching.
When an actor fluffs their lines, are they referred to in the acting business as a fluffer?
Well, unlike Peter and Lee, they get a second bite at the cherry if it's a movie. But if it's theatre, unfortunately, they get caught with their pants down as well. So I'll stick with fluffed his lines.
Speaking of which, by the way, I completely forgot that the person I almost got in a fist fight over was my son. and he had it right. So Jacob, your dream will come true, because Lee's going to punch me the next time we see each other, and it's going to be dedicated to you. Hopefully I won't have Gabrielle teeth and they all come spilling out. But all right, so we have fluffed his lines. Peter, you are next.
Yeah, fluffed his lines for me as well. It's one of those slightly frightening lines for a commentator, because you tend to use it when a centre forward misses an open goal and you say fluffed his lines, and the nagging thought is there at the back of your mind that you may fluff saying it, and there would be nothing worse than fluffed his lines.
Yes.
So there you go. It comes with an element of risk and excitement. So fluffed his lines for me, 2-0.
Okay.
Bosh.
Lee, is it 3, or are you a merchant of?
No. I mean, having to sit next to the wordsmith every weekend, I often feel as if I'm fluffing my lines on a regular basis. So I feel at home fluffing my lines.
At least you're not sitting next to a hot cup of soup anymore, I guess. But we'll leave it there. All right, we now have diabolical against in the ascendancy. These are, you can tell I used a randomizer, because if you know anything about my love for these phrases, these are 2 of my favorite, and they're going up in the round of 64. So diabolical and in the ascendancy. Peter.
Well, I would normally apply my previous logic to go with the positive one, which would be in the ascendancy, but I'm going to go counter to that, because I think diabolical, if you stop and think about it, is so ridiculously exaggerated. It's quite funny. I mean, you're talking about an error in a football match which you're aligning to the work of the devil, and that's A diabolical pass. What a stupid thing. What a gloriously stupid thing to say. So we'll go.
It's so over the top, isn't it?
It really is madness. So
I mean, missing a pass and causing a slight impact on the game is essentially it's
being
diabolical.
Sent to hell for eternity. Yeah, yeah.
All right, diabolical. That's one for Peter. Lee.
Well, I've been educated on a constant basis working with Peter. I didn't even know that about diabolical. So, but thanks for teaching me about that word.
Diablo is Spanish for the devil. For the devil.
I do know that now. I was Googling it as he said it. So diabolical all day long, and I've used it. So now I can use the word in confidence, knowing exactly what it means, as opposed to just pretending like I was at a junior school.
Yeah, it's like Demsek says, this show is diabolical. But today we are in the ascendancy. Sophie, is it a 2-1 or a 3-0?
Mike, you say that it comes from the Spanish word. I say it comes from the
Latin.
Greek word diavolos, diablo. And I am sold on that by Mr. Drury and the legend that is.
Well,
it's a clean sweep.
As upset as I am about In the Ascendancy not making it through, I can understand why someone had to win, someone had to lose this matchup. Flatters to Deceive against Bounce Back Ability, which to me it was a bit of an upset. Bounce Back Ability over Shambles. Maybe if I had put Shambolic, people would have liked it more, because that sounds even more just contrived in a wonderful way. I'm losing track now of who we're starting with. I think we start with Lee on this one.
I hate the word bounce back ability with a passion. And wherever that came from, and it wasn't that long ago, was it? And I hate it. So Flatters to Deceive, which I have vaguely remember saying once before. So yeah.
Once before. Okay, Flatters to Deceive. Sophie?
I'm going with Bounce Back Ability. Reminds me of being in like a corporate meeting where some dude is standing with a slideshow or a PowerPoint presentation trying to sell everyone on something. So yeah, Flatters to Deceive for me. I love that. And we've heard that quite a bit over the years with some of the players, the apathetic players we've had at the Arsenal.
Many of these are phrases that what I like about them is that you would just never hear them in American commentary or in any American sports. Flatters to Deceive took me so long to understand. I mean, that is, to me, that just, the fact that to me it makes absolutely no sense, but to everyone else it makes sense, is why I like it so much.
You don't hear Mike Tirico saying that on Sunday Night Football.
No, I don't hear Troy Aikman talking about how the Cowboys flattered to deceive in that game. That's for sure. Peter, your opinion on this one?
I would go 3-0 Flatters to Deceive, because it's actually, I don't want to appear overly serious about what's supposed to be fun, but that is actually a very nice piece of English, Flatters to Deceive, and Bounce Back Ability isn't English at all. I believe that Ian Dowie came up with Bounce Back Ability, didn't he, as a pundit, who was a centre forward who didn't score very often for West Ham and others down the years. A very, very nice chap, by the way, a very intelligent man. But I would say if it was he who was responsible for Bounce Back Ability, that was one of his less good days.
All right, so that's 3-0. We got a raft of 3-0s now all of a sudden coming through. So there seems to be some general agreement. Our next matchup, I know that Lee will have a commentary on this one. This one is almost especially for Lee. 6s and 7s against On His Bike. We started with Lee last time, so we'll finish with Lee this time, and we shall start with Sophie again.
On His Bike, I could totally hear Lee saying that. 6s and 7s, I just like that. It's kind of hot mess. I'm going to go with 6s and 7s. I like 6s and 7s. Yeah.
Peter, do you have the historical connotation of 6s and 7s?
No, not at all.
It's not hit me for 6, which is a cricket term, but where does that one come from?
I
Dice.
really don't. I would say dice probably has something to do with it, but that would be a complete guess. And
I actually think there's something to that.
I'm going on his bike only because there's not much between them, and I think it would be more fun if Lee has the casting vote.
Yes, considering if you're lucky enough in life to get an email from Lee, the signature is on my bike, I believe. So I have a feeling I know which one you're going to choose, but the game must be played.
Well, I sixes and sevens, and obviously we know what it means, as in confusion and blah blah blah. But doesn't mean anything to me. On his bike has got. Yeah, I say that a lot. I try not to say it because I want to say it all the time because it's in my mind. Bikes are in my mind. So I try to avoid saying it, but I end up saying it probably about 8 times a commentary. So, so on his bike all day long.
Yes, it's almost a 3-1 on this one, considering I knew that the conviction from Lee would be so strong that it would almost be 2 votes. But on his bike is through. Cutting now, this one I actually spelled phonetically because that's part of why I like it so much. Cutting a forlorn figure against turn on a sixpence. We want to talk about fancy phrases here. These two are at the top of the list. So turn on a sixpence disposed easily of pre-assist, which I expected to happen. We start with Peter. Cutting a forlorn figure.
My view on this is that turn on a sixpence is part of the language of football in a sense, and cutting a forlorn figure is just the sentence that falls into, if you're cutting a forlorn figure, you're cutting it anywhere. And sixpence is very, very English. I mean, do you ever talk about turning on a dime or anything like that in your part of the world?
Turning on a dime is a phrase. If a car that turns really, really quickly turns on a dime, but dimes are stupid and sixpence are not.
Well, sixpence is worth nothing anymore. It's not even part of our,
They're worth something to me, Peter. It's worth something.
So maybe there's a bit of historical depth in it and sort of transatlantic translatability. So I'll go turn on a sixpence.
Translatability, which is very different than bounce back ability.
Very.
Turn on a sixpence for Lee. For Peter,
by the way, is an English word, but there you are.
Yes. As Mass Gunner points out, Mike turns $1. No, I turn on a big, huge thing of dimes. Lee, cutting a forlorn figure or turn on a sixpence?
Turn on a sixpence, as Peter said, it's very English. Although I have translated it into every now and again. Dropping a pass onto a sixpence, or I've flipped it into a dime at times in commentary to appease my American
your new audience.
And as my producer says, Pierre, you're an English commentator, commentate English, but I can't help myself now and again. I feel as if I'm half American. So
well, see, that's the beauty of NBC's coverage is they clearly, and we know this from Sophie's incredible shows, including one that we did together, but one that we didn't with Rebecca Lowe. We know that they tell you to not try to cater to the American audience. And I just want to say to both of you in this brief interlude that it's very much appreciated. And that's why I think it's been so successful, is that you don't do what another network tried to do with their Champions League coverage and talk down to us and try to translate for us. We want the authentic, the real deal, not the watered down translated version. So, So we have two. Did we get you, Sophie?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It's a clean sweep. We turn on a Highbury squad or Arsenal coin. Look at that, beautiful. That's
nice.
Look at that product placement.
It's beautiful. Look at that.
Fantastic. I'm the lucky recipient of one of those. Or not, it was not one of those. It's a special kind. All right. And then didn't know much about it. And pony.
Pony.
Pony. As in this podcast is pony usually, but today it's today I didn't know much about it and it turned out good. We start with Lee. Are you going to tell me you don't know what pony means?
No, I do, but I mean, When is that ever
used?
Well, it wouldn't be used by professional. Yeah, it wouldn't be used by professional commentators. Like I don't want to. I mean, unless you say Tottenham's really been
I'm going to have to go pony. I'm going to have to all day long pony because I actually use pony a lot in my private life.
I'm going to clip that and tweet it out.
I would never say didn't know much about it very often. I don't, those words would never come out of my mouth. But I do say that's pony to my mates about something that's not very good.
So if the ball just
Tottenham descriptions,
if a cross just bounced off Eddie Nketiah's nose and went into the goal, like without him even looking, you wouldn't say, I'm not sure he knew much about that.
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. Sophie.
What's the first one again? Sorry.
Didn't know much about it. And pony.
Just pony, just because didn't know much about it, just is bland. So I'm going to go with pony.
All right. And Peter, are we? How do you feel about?
I'll agree with that because, as you rightly said, Mike, you couldn't possibly say that on air, but we'll put it down as a sort of guilty potential pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, even in a 9-0, who was that? Did Liverpool beat somebody 9-0? Yeah. Even in that kind of a game, I don't think you could have really gotten away with calling them pony, but you know that you wanted to, and that's the case.
Oh, you've got to put Steven's comment up, the last one. That's great. Do you remember when they were sponsored by Pony?
Yeah, they're just wearing pony on their shirt. It's fantastic. Next, they're going to be sponsored by Diabolical Labs, Squeaky Bum Time, and Panic Stations.
Oh, that's two good ones together.
We start this one with, and this is another kind of big time matchup here. Sophie, you start us off.
I want to ask Peter and Lee, is Squeaky Bum Time allowed now on television, or is that another one, Peter, that might be tricky?
I think you're allowed to say it, Sophie, but only because wasn't it coined by the great Sir Alex Ferguson?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
So it's kind of part of the folklore of football. So I don't think you'd be safe for saying it. I don't think
would you have to say it and introduce it by as Sir Alex Ferguson used to say?
No, I don't think you would, because I think it's entered the language.
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
Back to you, Sophie. That don't take any notice of me, but I think that's true.
I love both of these. This is like the scene in Sophie's Choice where she has to pick one of her kids. It's really a tough one.
Sophie's Choice right now, though.
Yeah. I have to go with Squeaky Bum Time. I love Panic Stations, but I'm going to go Squeaky Bum Time because that's how I feel like last 5 minutes of a game, mostly. Not so much this season, but have done for the last 15 years.
All right. Some of the people in the chat think we have a potential FA Cup champion in this matchup in Squeaky Bum Time. Peter.
Yeah. Anyone who's a football fan knows what Squeaky Bum Time feels like. And I have indeed sat next to my wife through the last 10 minutes of countless Watford games, and that's what it feels like. It's horrendous. And unlike Arsenal, we normally lose them. You sometimes win. But I would, because I want to hear what Lee says, I'm going to say Panic Stations. Because that's
that was a left field.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got Squeaky Bum Time, Panic Stations. Lee? You have the power yet again.
Having been in many squeaky bum situations playing, and having heard many squeaky bum times sitting next to Peter commentating, I'm going to go for Squeaky Bum Time because it's the most descriptive. It's the most. I guess, and I agree with you, Mike. I think we've got maybe a potential all-time winner in our midst with that. Because it is both player and supporter. It's obviously very close to their heart, having felt that feeling. And I can assure you that being a fan or a player, and I'm both, it's the same feeling. There's no difference. You know, Anfield 89, 2 minutes to go, one pass left. That's Squeaky Bum Time. So, and it doesn't feel any different than all the fans that were behind the goal. So Squeaky Bum Time all day long.
Well, and I think we may look back on this matchup as being one of those, big time teams, struggles in the third round of the FA Cup, but then eventually goes on a run and wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
Chasing the game and lost the plot, and this will bring us to our halfway mark. And just let me know if you guys don't have the stomach or the time to stay through the second half. We'll try to move through it quicker. But chasing the game and lost the plot. We start with Peter.
I'll go lost the plot here. I think chasing the game is perfectly valid and straightforward, but lost the plot has a bit more kind of depth to it, doesn't it? It hints at stuff rather than just kind of tells you what's the case. I like lost the plot.
All right, Lee?
Yeah, having lost the plot many times, I'm going lost the plot.
Okay. And
this one's easy. It's a 3-0.
3-0.
Beautiful. All right, so we've got half of our bracket. This was the FA Cup North.
You got the old porn people in chat. You're so popular now, Mike. You're getting all the you get the little porn trolls.
Way to highlight them to everybody, Sophie.
Listen, I'm your Thomas Partey. I'm your Xhaka today. I got your back.
Yeah, right here. That's perfect.
You say porn?
Yeah, porn.
Oh.
Yeah, it happens on a lot of when you're live chatting and stuff. And
what porn channels come on and try and
and goad people into clicking.
Entice you not to listen to Magic Mike.
They want some kind of magic.
I hope you know, Lee, that I did not give myself that name. One of your old teammates did.
Super
Kev. Yeah.
Super Kevin Campbell.
I am trying to find here. Let me, because we've got a separate bracket here.
Does Kev have the biggest thighs of any player you've ever played with, Lee?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, he had those thighs when he was 15.
Yeah, you should see that boy. Have you seen that boy dance?
I mean, that's a strange thing to bring up, Sophie.
Have you seen him dance, Sophie?
He's quite a dancer, isn't he? He's a groover.
He's got some moves, that boy.
He loves his music. It's so funny.
When we used to go out in the good old days, we used just to stand at the bar and just go on, Kev. He's standing into the dance floor, and he just used to dance on his own, and just everyone was standing watching him. It just took the pressure off us. We didn't have to dance then.
Oh gosh, I love it. There's a bit to clip for him, Mike.
Yeah. All right. I have got the ability now to update these, so we're gonna cruise through this now. And the first half of the South bracket of the FA Cup round of 64, smash and grab and covered in glory. Now disregard the numbers next to them; these are not seeds; these are just the randomizer numbers I had to use. So this is not a.
I can't believe covered in glory beat the hump.
No. I'm surprised,
especially when I pointed out that it's normally said the ump. I thought the ump. I mean, it's not really a football term, but that was. I think I'm the one vote for the ump in that one as well. Normally, if you see a 3-1, I was the one vote. But smash and grab, covered in glory. We'll start with Peter.
Smash and grab. It's in squeaky bum time, you get smash and grab, don't you? That's kind of something that is automatically and obviously exciting, and that's what we're all after. It's a moment, smash and grab, and we're all about moments.
Okay, so we've got one for smash and grab. Lee, or no, we'll go down now. Sophie.
I love smash and grab, but this season I want the Arsenal to be covered in glory. So I'm trying to tempt some good fate here. So I am going to go with covered in glory. Can we do the double? Someone asked me that. Paul Ross asked me that on TalkSport last night. And I was like, I haven't even thought about the double. Just been focused on the Premier League.
Double. We've got 4 trophies already this season. We got Baltimore. We got Florida. We got Dubai. I mean, double's already been done as far as we got Emirates Cup. We got the quadruple.
I'm going covered with glory.
See how ambitious I am, Lee? Smash and grab, covered in glory. It comes down to you yet again.
Played in the George Graham early 90s, smash and grab 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's all day long, smash and grab.
All right. So smash and grab are through. And I think you've got some support from that in the
they
chat.
all loved it.
King Joey's here. Daniel Robert, who was one of the 3 people that voted for Covered in Glory over the hump. We have Mask Gunner.
I'm out for
Mark
you,
Baxter.
Daniel.
So absolutely, that's a popular pick.
They're all talking about winning the treble now too, Mike. That's something I didn't really want to start there.
Full of Running against Skint. We start this one with Sophie.
Skint.
Skint?
Yeah.
Like Arsenal. Well, Arsenal may or may not sign a player because apparently they're skint.
No, that's not football commentary though, is it really?
No, not really. Some of these are,
but...
look, some of these are a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, Full of Running for me.
Full of Running.
And Full of Running 3.
Skint
No contest.
Any sense to me whatsoever. It should never been in the competition.
No.
Whoever put that in should be reprimanded.
Yeah, we'll talk to the tournament to the
Tournament
PA,
director.
the Phrase Association. We'll talk to the PA about this because not only are they in the competition, they got to buy to the round of 64. So we'll have to.
They need football detention. That's what they need for that.
Talk to those people. Maybe they should have been in the 90 if at all, and Tenterhook shouldn't have had to have a first round matchup. But we have Rich Vein of Form. Hooks. This is a superstar matchup for the round of 64, and we're going to start this one with. I'm completely out of sync as to where we are. Let's start it with Lee.
Hate Tenterhooks because for years I thought it was Tender Hooks.
I think I had to look it up once myself.
which was, and I was in my 50s before I realised it was Tenter, and I spent 20 odd years playing professional football trying to find a Rich Vein of Form. So I'm still trying to find it, and I found it tonight. So Rich Vein of Form.
All right, Rich Vein of Form. Peter, you're next.
I'm going to go against that. I'll go Tenterhooks only because, as I've said before, we live on Jeopardy, and Tenterhooks indicates Jeopardy. It means it's exciting if someone's on Tenterhooks or indeed Tenderhooks. And so I'll bash in the equalizer there.
Nice. And it's and
it's up
now
for grabs now.
It's up for grabs now. We're in squeaky bum time. Sophie, who's going through to the round of 32?
It's got to be, because I would wear that on a t-shirt at the beach in the summer in Cyprus. Rich Vein of Form for me.
Yeah.
Done and dusted.
Nice. It's complete. Tenterhooks are out, and Rich Vein of Form is through. Some are going to be upset by that. Demsec going for Tenterhooks. We had Daniel Robert going with Tenterhooks, but no, it was not.
You got a few in there for Tenterhooks.
They spent all of their energy in the preliminaries, and they didn't have anything left when it came to the big moment. Not sure that this is that either one of these are necessarily football related, but we have to pick one: Pants and Gutted. we start with Peter.
Yeah, this is like looking at the FA Cup third round this weekend. This is Grimsby against Burton. And,
yeah,
I
definitely.
am going to go with. You wouldn't say Pants. Well, you might if you're having a giggle towards the end of an awful game. But broadly speaking, I think Gutted wins it for me.
Okay, Gutted is through. Or no, well, Gutted has a vote. Sophie?
It's got to be Pants. I love saying that's Pants. Oh gosh, this is Pants. It's Pants all the way.
Well, in your arena,
can't say this is trousers, can you? So there you go, Pants.
Disregard the check mark. It puts it there no matter who I put first. But yeah, in your arena of the post game player ratings, Pants I believe is a little bit more suitable than during the 90 minutes of play on NBC. So so no surprises here so far. But Lee, it comes down to you yet again.
Well, I think the fact that I would pick the opposite of Peter because he's far more eloquent and say Gutted. I all day long think Pants is very much down my street. So I'd like to describe something as Pants.
I'm shocked. I mean, we have gutted,
Gutted.
gutted.
Yeah, well, it's not their vote, is it? So
For the first time, Young Noble Commentary is actually not copying you. He's not mimicking you, I should say.
He's mimicking Peter.
Yeah, I must say, every time I've been outvoted, and I'm not just saying this out of humility because I want to be competitive about this, but I've tended very easily to be swayed towards believing you guys were right. And pants is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was suggested that we have a debate followed by a vote, but I like it this way better because you know there's nothing better about the early rounds of the FA Cup than having a little bit of regret, a tinge of regret, support the right club or not. And unlike normal, there is not a second time of asking. How did that? Oh yeah, second time of asking against Schoolboy Error. So we're gonna start this one, I believe, with Sophie.
Schoolboy Error. They don't say schoolgirl error in women's football, do they? I don't hear that as often. I love Schoolboy Error. It's simple, defines everything, and I love it. I'm going Schoolboy Error.
We have people just finding out to their chagrin that it's not tenterhooks. Look, for you, Stephen, especially because apparently you're dealing with a horrible illness, according to Sophie.
Oh, stop that.
You could be tenterhooks for you because we know that you don't have long left, and we don't want you to be upset.
Damn. I picked the wrong I was given this whole nice, kind of thing on our show. Mike was a guest, and there's an Arsenal fan who's not well, and I was talking about the wrong Stephen, and it stuck.
He's even got a very similar last name, and I know Stephen Feely personally, and I'm going to be seeing him fairly soon. And I was like, oh my god, no, I didn't even know about this. And he's like, no, it's not me.
Have you invited Lee to Goonagra? Lee and Peter.
I invited him back. I invited him before we'd ever talked to each other to Goonagra. I just sent out invites to the entire 89 team at that point. But no, Goonagra. If there weren't games that weekend, I'd have to. But Lee is the busiest man on TV with football, and there are games that weekend. But anyway,
you're a legend. When you're a legend,
I don't know what you're talking about. So
most of the time, I don't either. All right, so. Schoolboy Error, I believe, has one vote. We go to Lee next.
Schoolboy Error, something I would say, and means a lot to me, having been a schoolboy and done lots of errors. Second time of asking, don't think I would ever use that. I don't think I've ever said it. Peter might have said it, but
no, I listen. My vote's very much Schoolboy Error. Also, having been a schoolboy, and I suspect on a football field, having made considerably worse errors than Lee did, because I was flipping hopeless.
You haven't seen my goal against Coventry.
The point is, Lee, you were selected to play against Coventry. Strangely enough, I never was.
That was that was not a schoolboy error. That was a Galazzo, just in the wrong. It was a Puskas winning goal in the wrong net. Red Mist descending, which is about to happen between Lee and I think, and taking the piss. We start this one. I just can't keep track of who we're starting with. Lee, we start with you.
Taking the piss all day long.
I'll make it quick. Me too.
It's not even worth discussing. I mean, who says red mist descending ever?
Peter, have you ever said red mist descending?
Probably. Honestly, I
can envision that.
I'm afraid to say, and I'm slightly embarrassed to say that. And I would probably vote for it on the basis that on the telly I wouldn't be allowed to say taking the piss. So that's there you are. That's it. But I again entirely sympathise with my colleagues.
Who takes the piss the most out of the NBC crew? Who's the biggest piss taker?
Probably Lee.
What?
No, you are.
I think I'm quite serious.
Neither one of the Robbies.
It's a very good thing you do. It's a good thing you do.
We try to keep it light-hearted, Mike.
Well, we don't want you to have a howler because you are ripping up trees. Peter, which of these two are making it to the round of 32 for you?
Tight one. This I will go. I'll go ripping up trees because it's just a little bit, I suppose, cleverer.
Yeah.
Is it ripping or pulling?
Well, it's pulling, really, isn't it?
See, I've had this argument with people as well, and
you argue a lot, Mike.
I do. All I do is I argue with my son. I argue with other mates. So, ripping up trees or howler, or pulling up trees if you prefer. Who just guessed? Lee? Who guessed? Peter, you're next.
No, that was me.
That was Peter.
So
I'll go next, so then Lee can have the deciding vote because I do love a howler, as long as it's not the Arsenal, of course. I'm going to go with howler.
Okay. And this will be corrected to pulling up trees by the next show. Because I'm not gonna fail at the first hurdle again.
I'm torn between the two, but I'm going to go because of I've got a great picture of me it's either on my Instagram or I don't know, it might be Twitter, I don't know, of me booting David Howells up in the air in his Tottenham kit. So I'm going to go for howler because I quite enjoyed that moment.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, howler is through. Now we're whipping through these matchups. Capitulate against Pockets of Space. This is another matchup that I didn't like to see this early on. Two things you just absolutely never hear over here unless you're watching Lee and Peter on NBC. We start this one we'll start it with Sophie. Capitulate, Pockets of Space.
I love the word capitulate, but when a commentator says pockets of space, I love it because it says so much about offensively what's happening, but also then defensively what's not. So I'm going with pockets of space.
Did Fabio Vieira find Eddie Nketiah in a pocket of space yesterday, or is that not the right use of that?
I'd suggest that Fabio Vieira was the one in the pocket of space.
Correct, Mike. You just got that completely wrong.
I did it in reverse. See, that's why I call it soccer. All right, so Soph goes with pockets of space, I believe. Lee.
I agree. Pockets of space is very descriptive you described it very well, Sophie. The offensive and defensive part of the game. So pockets of space for me, capitulate. No, I'm not saying that.
You just did. All right, Peter.
Well, it's pointless, isn't it? But I actually would have said capitulate because I like the word. But there's no need for me to expand because I've lost.
But the thing is, though, even though, you need to give if you feel that strongly. Capitulate has legions of fans that are following it through this conference, and they will feel much better about it.
I like the word. Listen, I'm being a bit disingenuous because I know quite often I use the words pockets of space, but it's kind of sometimes to me sounds like sort of faux modern description of the game. I don't think when Lee started playing in the 20th century, people talked in the same way about pockets of space. It's one of those kind of phrases that's come into the dictionary quite late. But maybe I'm wittering. Move on.
I think back in those days, they were talking about two-footed tackles a lot more than they are now. Plenty of industry and on a knife's edge. Lee, we begin with you on this one.
Well, it's just a stupid matchup, whoever put this together. On a knife edge.
On a knife edge, continuing its run from defeating Wage Packet earlier in the competition. So on a knife's edge. Peter, you?
Yep, 2-0 on a knife edge. Jeopardy always wins it for me. Keep the game alive.
And
Same.
Sophie?
Same.
No consolation for plenty of industry.
Plenty of industry. It just sounds like too much hard work. I mean, it's yeah.
Well, that's what industry is hard work.
I know, but
Okay. Next matchup. Peter begins with a cracker or make a meal out of? Who's going forward to the next round?
This has got Christmas dinner written all over it, hasn't it? Make a meal out of a cracker. I would say make a meal out of it. You know, it's just more fun, isn't it? Cracker's too easy.
Cracker's too bland.
Yeah.
All right. Sophie?
I'm the same. Make a meal out of it. Yeah. Cracker
right.
is too simple.
Well, Mr. Bland's going for a cracker.
You scored some crackers. You scored some crackers.
Yeah,
so,
I was thinking more of the winger's shin. That's what I was thinking of.
What'd you say?
Oh,
I'm thinking of that was a cracker. But I'm never going to use that voice again. At the death, down the garden path. We start with. God, I can't keep track of this.
I'll start down the garden path. That could lead anywhere, but also, you know, it's also kind of predictable.
Does it lead to the round of 32? That's the question.
I'm voting for down the garden path.
Okay, Lee.
No, I'm going to have to go for at the death. I think although it's not positive like Peter likes, it is very descriptive. You can't get a more descriptive end to the game as at the death. So I'm going for at the death.
Does it make you happy, Lee, that so many people are on tenterhooks about every story that you tell? That so many of us remember the Ginola story that you love talking about when it comes to the cracker on the shins.
I don't remember kicking him very often.
Very often.
Very often.
Peter, at the death or down the garden path, you have the power to send someone through here.
Well, whichever of Lee and Ginola was on top in any given match situation would have been, presumably, sending the other down the garden path. And since that came up at a kind of personal moment, that therefore is what gets my vote.
That's all it takes. Down the garden path continues down the garden path. Well, no, I guess it's the opposite. The garden path would not be a successful progression. It's the opposite of that. So,
yeah.
I'm asking because I'm Gaffer and Purple Patch. Gaffer easily ticks all the boxes out of the tournament earlier in the last round. We are very, very nearly done here. I think we've got just 5 matchups left. We start this one with Lee.
I grew up with that word Gaffer firmly placed in my vocabulary to call every boss that I played under. So I think this is a potential finalist. Gaffer.
Really? Wow. Okay. Gaffer, 1 for Lee.
All the term. It's
Peter.
Do you know what? Lee has actually talked me around there. I understand that. And I might have gone the other way, but he actually is undeniably right. I mean, that is the absolutely quintessential football word. Almost every professional footballer who has ever lived has called the boss Gaffer.
And still does to this day.
Well, there you are. Exactly. Long beyond them being your boss. So I think it has to be Gaffer for that reason.
And do you know what, Pete? You know the strange thing about that word is that I call all bosses, even though they weren't my boss, Gaffer. Yeah. So if I bumped into Glenn Hoddle, or I would say, "Hey, Gaffer," or I bumped into whoever, I would always call them Gaffer.
Yeah.
Now, Gaffer has a different connotation to you, Sophie, right? Being in the in showbiz, it's a different word altogether in the final credits, right?
Yeah, but I still love it. And for the reasons the boys said, you got to go with Gaffer. Purple Patch reminds me of those toys, those horrible toys. My nieces would like them at some. Was it the Cabbage Patch? Those, Gaffer. All day long.
I've always been a fan of Purple Patch. I think Arsenal's in a Purple Patch right now, but hopefully an extended one. This is what I love about the competition. You had a very strong reaction here from Dempsek originally. Then he heard the explanations, and then we had that. You've turned him around. You've completely turned him around.
What does purple patch mean? I know what it means, but where's it come from? Do we know?
No idea. No idea.
Don't know either. You're gonna Google
Purple
it,
patch.
Mike?
Hopefully, none of my other suggestions come up on this.
Oh dear.
Purple patch.
Yeah, none of your other search history.
That's what I'm saying. I hope.
Why don't I Google it for you while you're doing the next round?
Sorry, you
I'm on a computer that won't let me go to just any old website. So, all right.
Period of
Park the
success
Bus,
and good
beaten.
fortune.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? Let's see.
Yeah, but where does how did it become that?
I'm looking for that part. Yeah.
Park the Bus, beaten for pace. Start with Peter.
I think Park the Bus, because it's kind of clever and it's quite new, and we all know what it means, and it's very, very football. You can be beaten for pace at any sport.
Yeah.
Very
good description. Very good description.
We'll go up.
I haven't had anything to that, so I'm going to Park the Bus as well.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
All
Park the
right,
Bus. Although with I Park the Spaceship now, I kind of like that. I'm trying to make go viral, but it's not working. But Park the Bus, yeah, I love that.
Okay, Park the Bus.
And purple patch comes from a literary equivalent of adding a patch or purple material to an otherwise undecorated garment. It's also been used in literary passages for dramatic effect.
Well, Stephen Feely says it sounds like something you need ointment for, but and Mark thinks it came from the Russian period of Mikhail Gorbachev. So
Roman,
we have a lot of different possible things. Park the Bus did go through, but like Stephen, it reminds us of Mourinho because he did nothing but park the bus most of the time.
This is why I'm trying to get it changed to Spaceship, Mike.
Yeah, well, 3 final matchups. 29 are through. Cool as You Like against Bags of Pace. We begin this one with Sophie.
I love Bags of Pace. Mudryk has Bags of Pace. I hope we sign him. I'm going to go with Bags of Pace.
All right. We now go to Lee.
Yeah.
Who had Bags of Pace and was Cool as You Like.
Well, you know, I'm neither now. Bags of Pace for me. It's if you've got Bags of Pace, you could be bang average. Bang average isn't in here, is it? See?
Oh, see,
missed the trick there.
I'm marking that down for next year's competition or for the Europa Conference League.
By the way, if one of these teams fields an ineligible player in this round, there still could be place for bang average.
That's true. Yeah, there could be a complete shocker. Cool as You Like or Bags of Pace. Lee, what was your choice?
Bags of Pace. All
right, and Peter, are you going to send them home empty-handed? Or?
Cool as You Like.
Cool as You Like. See, that I can hear coming out of your mouth. That's one of the phrases that I can hear coming from you.
Sunday.
I'd love to be cool. And
you are cool.
No, I'm not.
That ship sailed, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. just one day. Just one day.
Whether you're cool or not.
Your voice is the coolest voice ever. So you're cool in a different cool way.
We like. So,
all
right. Final 2 matchups.
Fast, but there you are.
Against the Run of Play, against Sublime. I have a feeling I know what the reasoning is going to be here, but we start with Peter on this one.
I will go for. They're 2 very different things. I mean, one is just an adjective, and the other is a football phrase. So, how do we judge one against the other? I suppose Sublime, because it can work. It can work in football or not in football. Sublime.
Oh, okay. See, to me, Sublime is just it's describing something good, but you almost never describe it as sublime unless it's football.
Yeah, true.
So
I'll go next, Mike, so I can just pass this deliciously and cut through the defense for Mr. Dixon here. Against the Run of Play. That's a classic.
Sublime's too clever a word for me to use, so I would always use the more basic. Against the Run of Play, very descriptive. I don't have to add anything to it. I just kind of say that and step back and let Mr. Poet next to me finish the sentence off for me. So,
All right.
Against the run of play.
Many are stating that against the run of play, it just describes Newcastle, but I won't ask for comment on that. The final matchup of the round, guys. I mean, I could go on for another 3 hours. I know you guys could as well, but we're not going to do the final matchup. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, or half dozen of the other, and having a mare.
Oh, these are good.
Top matchup for this time in the tournament, and we will go just from top to bottom on your screen, starting with Lee Dixon. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Well, I had more of these than I did man of the matches, so having a mare for me.
Okay, having a mare has a vote. Peter?
Do you know, it's the last one, so I think we want a casting vote, don't we? It's more exciting that way. So I will, for that reason, if for no other, go for 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Well, it's also one of those. It's also one of those.
It has its place, doesn't it? It has its place.
It's one of those that's like 9 words long when you could say it in 2, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sophie, this is definitely exciting. We're all I have to say on tenterhooks. We've got I know why they were saying about Newcastle. They're playing right now and apparently going against
they're 1-0
up. So having a mare seems to be leading in the chat, but you are not the chat. You are the Sophie, and you get to choose the winner.
Under the spotlight here. I love 6 and 1 just because I love it. It's classic. But in looking forward to Sunday, I hope Tottenham have an absolute mare, which might be difficult away from home, let's be honest, lately. But I'm going to go with having a mare, and I'm projecting that out there into the universe that happens to Tottenham on Sunday.
Now,
brilliant.
That is the round of 64. We'll have another show in the next couple of weeks where we recap, we do the draw, and then whether I have the balls to invite both of you back for the final rounds, or whether we go to Ian Dark and Derek Ray for the final 32. There'll be a third version of this show, and I can't tell you.
Darky would be great at this.
I'm sorry?
Darky would be superb at this.
Oh, I would. Yeah. My dream was to have all 4 of you in some combination do the two shows, and we'll see if I can pull it off. But hopefully, just don't mention how laborious it was to do. And but I can't thank you guys enough. Now, one quick question, because you are both going to be in our earwaves on Sunday here in the States, calling a game that I won't be able to hear what you're going to say. So can you tell me how you feel the game is going to go, because I'm going to be just listening to people shouting and screaming and getting hit by bottles. Apparently, I'm learning.
Well, if you get a seat near us, you'll be able to hear us firsthand without your headphones on.
I'm going to guess that the gantry is nowhere near the away fan section, but
maybe we'll just come down to you and do it with the away fans.
I would appreciate that. You could probably make me look pretty good in front of my mates. So, oh look who's come to visit me. But any predictions on the game? What is your research done so far?
Listen, Mike. The truth is that
Arsenal go out the window.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think Arsenal should win. I do say that, and I am unique in this panel, not being partisan in either direction. However, as I think you all know, I think Sophie just implied it. Away wins in this fixture are so scarce. It's year after year they win it. They both win at home, and so it's Arsenal have to kind of go against trend in order to do that. But I think they're playing so well at the moment, and they're beautiful to watch. I'm not just flattering you lot as Gooners, but they're a beautiful, beautiful team, and I logically they should beat Tottenham, I think. But there you go. Logic ain't got much to do with it.
Your thoughts?
I think.
Do you throw Peter up against the wall before the North London derby like other players used to do to you?
No, I've not tried that one yet. We haven't done a North London derby together at Tottenham yet, because I have to go in a bit of a disguise because you're right amongst the enemy.
Yes.
There's nowhere to go to the toilet. I have to wear a hat.
Is Graham on the panel that day too?
No, because normally I just get him in front of me and throw him because they don't like me. But I haven't got my shield. But I think our wide players, our two wide players, are way too good for their shitty fullbacks. So I think we'll win quite easily, 2-0.
Well, let's hope. From your mouth to God's ears. The one question I do have to ask you on the air, I already asked you this off the air, Daniel. I asked him already, but why do you hate drying towels for footballs? I would love to know. The people want to understand. And I'll ask you again, and you have to pick a winner in the style of the FA Cup. Which is worse, drying off towels or lying behind the wall in a free kick situation?
Oh, that's just ridiculous. That lying on the floor thing is just. I mean, if any coach asked me to do that, I'd literally go, "I'm not doing it." I mean, I don't know who gets that job. Is it like the idiot of the team or something? Right.
I was about to name the people that usually did it for us, but now I don't want. Mike called me.
I need to know, and I haven't looked at this because I've got other things to do. But I need to know out of all the teams that do it, who I want to stand all those players up so I can have a look at them. Because off the top of my head, I don't know who does it for even us. Who does it for us?
It was Bellerin and Maitland-Niles.
Bellerin did it a lot.
There you go.
This season we have. Yeah, you love Bellerin. This season, we haven't seen any free kicks against us because we've always had the ball.
So that's a good thing. I'm going to get the NBC researchers to find out who the idiot boy is that they lie down on the floor. I want to know who that is. Every team. Because it's just ridiculous.
We'll have a team photo taken of all the people that lie down.
So Lee, so Lee, you would vote for that being worse than the towel, using the towel.
Yeah. Getting that job is the worst job in football.
The towel is the towel needs to get the hair dry treatment.
That's just cheating. Shouldn't be allowed.
Well, and so I will see you in 2 weeks for the Manchester United game.
Payback time.
We'll be there. Hopefully, the two of you will be assigned that one. Because again, I think I even have a visual aid here that shows. In the research of all of the games that you've called.
I think the last time we won a league game, Peter, am I right? Was it we won a league cup game there, I think, and 2015 might be the last time we won a league game there. 2017 or 2015.
Well,
at Old Trafford.
Actually at Spurs.
At Spurs.
Oh, Spurs, yeah.
Yes, but I wasn't there at any of the game. So.
Oh,
all right. Well, we have.
Rosicki was the last player to score a winner for Arsenal at Spurs,
and that was in the
Premier League.
He scored that early doors, didn't he?
2 minutes in, early doors.
Yep. In fact, I even know that was March 16th, 2016, because that was a day that will live in infamy for what happened afterwards, and I'm not getting into that. But
some Arsenal fans got upset with me. I said I'd take a point now.
2014.
I would take a point right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins Watford Blackpool? Oh,
Blackpool.
You don't care.
Match abandoned, lack of talent.
They just battered Forest 4-1, didn't they?
Yeah.
Is that championship or is that FA Vase?
Oh, right. Anyway, see ya.
Thank you, Peter, for joining us.
Team has no Jones anymore.
Always a pleasure to speak with you, Lee. Some reason you keep coming back when I ask you, so I'm not going to jinx you.
Have you got some pictures of me with no clothes on or something? How come I keep getting this job?
Yeah, we're giving them away for Gooners versus Cancer. They're signed. And Sophie, I love you, and I will see you very, very soon. And
love you guys.
And if you've enjoyed this, please put a like, put thumbs up in there, subscribe. It's goonersubscribe.com. Check out goonersvcancer.com. Always something going on there where you can help fund the campaign to kick cancer and get rid of it. This has been a dream come true, guys. I appreciate it. And we'll all be watching on Sunday to see how the game goes. But if we win 3-0, you got to mention the pod. Can I? Yeah. All right. So thank you. And again, also a big shout out to this guy right here, young noble commentary from Nigeria, who every day, every week, every day puts out
Young noble commentary.
Top man.
Legend.
the biggest tribute possible to these gentlemen, and I'll play them out with this, not the entire thing because they don't have 2 minutes to sit around and watch it, but
I'll hang up before it's even done.
thank you to Lee and Peter and yourself.
Good to meet you, Sophie. Thanks, Mike.
Great to meet you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you.
Marchenko and Martinelli, and it came for